You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The first surprise of this fall camp for Syracuse, and that is the play of Michael Johnson Jr. Now, Michael Johnson Jr. is a 6'3", 215-pound quarterback or weapon, because he was listed as a weapon when he transferred over to Syracuse. He is a redshirt senior with hopefully 2 years of eligibility left, including this upcoming season, which is only, once again, 12 days away. He was a 3-star FAU transfer, and he is also the son of co-offensive coordinator and tight ends coach Michael Johnson. So here's the precursor to this one for Syracuse. Obviously, it's a battle for who is going to be the backup quarterback on this team for next year. We know Kyle McCord, right? We know Kyle McCord's the starter, and we also know who the really good players are on this team for next year. Like Kyle McCord, we know is really good. We know Rondé Gadsden's good, and Marlo Wax is a standout on defense. Justin, but you get the idea, right? Fidel Diggs, even though he's underrated by a lot. We know who's really good. These are about surprises. And with Michael Johnson Jr., he has only thrown one career pass in his entire college career, and that came last season at FAU. And full disclosure, he's 0 for 1, but one pass attempt. It could have been 1 for 1 for 75 yards and a touchdown. I wouldn't have really cared all that much, but he's 0 for 1. That's all. So when Syracuse got him in the transfer portal, I'll be completely honest with you all. I wasn't like, gung-ho, yay, what a great move that Syracuse just made. This is our backup quarterback for next season. But right now, according to those who are at the fall camp, he is really, really impressing, and he could be in line to be the quarterback 2 behind Kyle McCord for this upcoming season. Now, the first 6 weeks of camp, first 6 weeks, he's split time between being a quarterback and a wide receiver. Once again, he's considered a weapon. That's what he was when he transferred over to the Orange. If you look at like his Twitter profile or when Syracuse Football actually posted it, it said in the position description that he is a weapon, which I've never even seen before. Has anyone ever seen that? If you've ever seen that, leave a comment below. A player being listed as a weapon. I've never seen that. So obviously the fact that he's only completed, or not even completed, he's only attempted one pass, I am pleasantly surprised that he could be the backup quarterback for this upcoming season. And now I'm going to get to you the main reason why I'm happy about this. Because the other quarterbacks in the race are Carlos Del Rio-Wilson, who's now going on to his 3rd year with Syracuse as the backup potentially, and Jakhari Williams, who is a 3-star or 4-star quarterback prospect, true freshman, depending on the service that you look at, the recruiting service. I've never been someone who's wanting to usually play true freshmen in football. Typically, I err on the side of caution. Obviously, the coaching staff would know better than I am. And we also know what Carlos Del Rio-Wilson is. This isn't me piling on him. I'm just going to give you his numbers. Okay? He's played 14 career games. All of them have been for Syracuse. If you recall, he was a Florida Gator transfer, actually. In 14 career games, he's thrown just about 100 passes. So not a huge sample, but like good enough of a – like there's something there, 100 passes in 14 games. He's completed less than 50% of them. He's thrown 4 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. This was the guy who was in line, or at least at the beginning of fall camp, in my mind, the favorite to be the backup quarterback behind Kyle McCord. And I've said on the podcast that I am concerned about the backup quarterback spot because, well, first of all, you need a good backup in case something actually does happen. You don't want anything to happen to the starter. We don't wish anything bad on Kyle McCord, but you do need an insurance policy, right? You buy insurance not hoping that something bad happens. You buy insurance because, well, in case something does happen, it's a plan. So you need a good backup quarterback. That's the first reason. And second of all, I'm also traumatized. Okay, I'm a New York Jets fan. Full disclosure, I'm a New York Jets fan. Aaron Rodgers goes down in 4 plays. The backup quarterback options were Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle. Obviously, the fact that they won 7 games out of that is a miracle. So I'm traumatized. I was concerned about the backup quarterback, but I'm less so now because if Michael Johnson Jr., and albeit he's only attempted 1 career pass, if he's beating out an experienced backup quarterback already in Carlos Del Rio-Wilson, what does that say about Michael Johnson Jr.? What does that say about him? For starters, the Captain Obvious quote is that the coaching staff is telling you that he's better than Carlos Del Rio-Wilson, which means by default, Syracuse has upgraded the backup quarterback position. Once again, we're going over the 3 surprises so far at fall camp, and all are positive surprises, and one of which we're talking about right now, is transfer from FAU Michael Johnson Jr. being in line to potentially be the backup quarterback for this upcoming season, beating out Carlos Del Rio-Wilson and beating out a good quarterback prospect in Jakhari Williams. Now, so if you've covered that portion, right, you get the idea that Syracuse may have upgraded their backup quarterback position after all. They may have upgraded it. This is also what got me, because I'm credit to Emily Liker for this. Johnson is also a candidate to be the quarterback 1 in 2025. That's right. Michael Johnson Jr. might be the quarterback 1 for this team in a couple years. 1 year, but not this upcoming season, right? Kyle McCord is obviously going to be here for 1 year, and then he's out. For those that may not know, this is his final year of eligibility, so he can't be back. It's nothing to do with the transfer portal or anything like that. He's out of years of eligibility after this season. So they're going to be looking for another quarterback. They could go in-house like a Jakhari Williams, but they also can go in-house for Michael Johnson Jr., maybe. So what I would do if he's really in consideration to be a quarterback 1 for 2025, assuming that Syracuse football is in a bowl game, and trust me, I'm picking them to be in a bowl game at 8-4. They're going to be in a bowl game. I would play Michael Johnson Jr. as the starter in that one. Just see how he looks in the bowl game. It's not going to tell you everything, but you'll be able to learn more about him if he's playing in that bowl game, if he's starting, than you would Kyle McCord, because Kyle McCord's out the door. Now, Kyle McCord might want to play because maybe he wants to boost his NFL draft stock, or maybe there's some sort of reason behind it. But assuming that Syracuse is in a bowl game, they're not in the college football playoff, I would start Michael Johnson Jr. if you're seriously considering him as the quarterback 1 for 2025. But overall, I'm really pleasantly surprised that Michael Johnson Jr. may in fact be the backup quarterback for this team, because it means that Syracuse has upgraded at backup quarterback, with Carlos Del Rio-Wilson also being an upgrade as a 3rd-string quarterback. So we do have insurance policies in the event that something does happen to Kyle McCord.